make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box? It's showtime.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Everybody, welcome to Monday Night Show. The Bunny is thinking about. Well, today I'm thinking about one of my favorite series that I've gotten over the years. Got both the first books. I got the novelization. I got a whole bunch of stickers and a whole bunch of stuff. It's one of my favorite series. I've had this gentleman on before. He's actually doing the lettering on my book. Um, so yeah, he's kind of got me over a bushel here. I kind of owe him, so I have to bring him on anyway. Kidding. I'll do it. I'll do it anyway. All right, his name's Paul from AGE Comics. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
anytime. Yeah, yeah. I'm under no duress whatsoever. I'm not. I don't like owe him anything, or there's no other connection whatsoever. So disavow. Anyway.
No, it's a fun letter in your book. So.
Well, the problem is during the move, I kind of shoved all of my stuff into like the bookshelves back here, and so it would take me like I should have dug it all out, but it's up there somewhere. I know I've seen it somewhere.
I know how that goes.
I have to dig it out later, but yeah.
I'm in my temporary. I'm in my temporary location. You can see there's this wonderful wall behind me. I had this really nice office, and I had all these posters with stuff I had lettered behind me. And then my daughter's like, "What if I had this room instead?" So she took that room over, and now I'm in like the hallway. So.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, a father's got to do what a father's got to do, right?
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. Well, we actually did I came across like 3 different projects at one time. Had kaiju, like in kind of like in them somewhere, and so I did a show with you guys, and I did kind of like a clip of that show. Let me play that right now. Let's see, where did I put that thing? It's over here somewhere. All right, there it is. Okay. Oh, at the bottom. That's the problem when you kind of have too many things at one time. All right, here we go. Let me play it right quick. You'll remember this blast from the past.
Yeah,
just like I live in Queens, so it would be like, oh hey, I just heard that Statue of Liberty got whipped into the middle of the city. Yeah, I am not coming into work today. So
Well, that would work unless you work at the Waffle House and they're like, "Get your butt in here."
man doesn't let kaiju attack stop his shift. I need this money.
I've used not wanting to go to work as an excuse to not go to work. So I definitely use a kaiju. I'd use a lot less.
There you go.
I'm just. He said Waffle House, and I'm just like mentally picturing like the one Waffle House chef who's there as a kaiju attack is happening. He's just standing on the roof, like, "What's up? What's up, bro? Come on!"
I work at Waffle House. Chicken and noodles bad.
I work at a Waffle House. What are you gonna do to me, man?
What's up, bro? I'm ready. You want to try to destroy this Waffle House? You're gonna have to go through me, bro.
I'm sure any self-respecting kaiju is like, "Oh, there's the Waffle House. Let me go around here."
Yeah, it's like you guys saw earlier, Godzilla ducking under the bridge. Same thing. He just goes around the Waffle House.
I'm just like, let me just casually step over the Waffle House because it's got like its crazy chef on the roof.
There you go.
Nope.
That's funny. That's a throwback.
Had a good show. Yeah, it was a good show.
Still true.
Yeah, even Godzilla's not gonna mess with Waffle House Wendy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
My internet a little. Sorry.
You're no, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying I think my internet's lagging a little bit. I'm sorry if it's causing a problem there on your end. That's what I had said right before we were talking. I was
okay.
It's just gonna happen as soon as the show starts, and yeah.
Well, it could be me. It could very well be me. But what I think about your particular comic that was really interesting is I've seen like kaiju kind of style comics, and I've seen like the superpower style comics, but and I've even seen like kaiju and superpowers like side by side, but yours is the only one I've seen where it's like kaiju versus superpowers. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's it's pretty interesting. You want to give a synopsis of your world?
Sure.
Right
Yeah.
quick?
So when I started writing this story, I know I wanted to tell a story with big monsters because why not? They're cool. But I remember watching one of the new Godzilla movies, and I think it was the one with Kong. And I just remember thinking how little the people in the story mattered, right? Like Godzilla had like the whole army behind him, and then King Kong had like two hackers and a lost child or something. And it was like, these people don't matter at all to the story. Like, you could erase them entirely. And so I wanted to tell a story that, like, yeah, it's got big monsters, but it's got characters that are equally big and like matter and can change the story. So, so I had this, this story where, by day I'm a history professor, so and a political science professor. So I thought it'd be fun to tell kind of an alternate history story. And so I picked up what happens if, the Korean War kept going and it got nuclear. And I thought it'd be kind of funny to turn it on its head. So often Godzilla stories like that, the monsters become, we drop an atomic bomb and then the radiation creates them or whatever. Well, I turned it on its head and I said the nuclear bombs are what caused the superheroes. And so all of a sudden we have a world in the middle of the Korean War that became World War III, and it's, nuclear irradiated superheroes that are fighting. And the world just keeps getting worse. And a solar flare hits the Earth and wakes up these giant monsters. So all of a sudden we find ourselves in, the late 1950s. Technology has died entirely. It's a completely destroyed world. And we've got monsters and we've got these remnants of humanity that managed to survive a nuclear world war, and the technology died and everything. And so we have to, pick up the pieces. And so the story of the comic picks up about 90 years later, a couple generations into this world that's completely changed. Now, you mentioned the novels, the little novellas I read with it. That's actually tracking the collapse of society in the 50s, how they get their superpowers, where the monsters are coming from. That's covering that part. But I pick up 90 years later in the comics in a very destroyed world where these tribes are trying to survive monster attacks and other tribes. It's kind of the background.
Yeah, kind of like a Mad Max kind of world.
Very much so.
Society is completely broken down. Yeah.
Yep. Like most of these people don't even know anything about technology. There's a few who are still alive from like when the world collapsed, but the rest of them have been born after. So the closest they're going to get to technology is like hooking up a kaiju like a horse to the shattered remains of a car and having it drag them. Like there's no technology, no nothing.
Right. Yeah, I've always liked the like retro future dystopians where mankind was established and then something set them all the way back to like Stone Age, and so there's still remnants of like Planet of the Apes, where there's remnants of humanity still there.
But you walk in, see a giant skyscraper, and you're like, "What is this? And where did this come from?" Like the new people and stuff, they have no idea what that is, but there's still pieces of it. So, and then they'll see the monster knock it down. They're like, "Well, I guess this wasn't that important, but like, what was it used for?"
Right. That's one thing. I like the intellectual kind of like workout that takes to set something in a world that has moved on a little, and kind of like, what do you keep, what endures, what currently is our society that would actually translate to be knocked back to the Stone Age. We're just one. What is that called? The device that knocks out all the electricity.
An EMP.
EMP, yeah. The EMP technology is a thing, and they are working on bombs that would be capable of knocking out, our power grids and things like that. And so, the idea that we're one EMP away from just survival of the fittest, which.
Think of the nightmare if you hit like Chicago or New York with an EMP. I mean, I read somewhere that most major cities have like 2 or 3 days worth of food because supply chains are just so hard to keep up with. And so like you shut that grid down 48 hours into it, you're going to be facing a Mad Max world. And that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much of I wonder how long the No Kings protests would last in that particular environment.
It's like those kids over in England, Stop Oil or whatever, and they're like, "Well, what are you gonna do if we stop the farms and everything?" They're like, "Well, we'll just go to the grocery store and get food." Like they just have no concept of supply chain and like where stuff comes from. Like, good
It
luck
just
with the light
appears
bulb.
in the refrigerators. It
Yes,
just appears in the refrigerators.
that's
You
how it
know?
happens. Yeah.
That you usually find that thinking in communist, because
Yeah.
communism basically is a thought experiment that people have tried to make real, but it has missing links in it. Like it sees the means of production, but if you don't know how to continue the production, then people starve to death, which has happened in every single, communist seizure of means of production. It's happened every single time they've done it.
I
And yet,
always love when they're like, "Yeah, no, when the communist revolution works, I'm gonna be a poet. I'm just gonna sit around and write poems all day." It's like, and how are you gonna eat? Where are you? Like, what's the next step? Like, who draws the short straw of working in the fields? And
right, right. Well, I mean, a lot of these people who, are wanting communism to happen think that they're going to be part of the proletariat. They think they're going to rule.
yeah,
They think they're going to be one of the ones that like decides who does what,
yeah,
and they don't understand that those are the first people to hit the gulag.
yeah.
Are the ones that the useful idiots who actually overthrow the system and install the communists. They're the first ones in the gulag. It's because we know we can't control those people, because when they had it well, when they had it good, they still overthrew the government. So we don't want those people around.
Yep.
And so the very thing that made them useful is the very thing that makes them expendable once the communists have taken over. And it's amazing how many just have no idea how that works.
I was reading about that over in South Africa. They're having that same problem. They keep seizing land and redistributing it, but they're giving it to people who don't know how to do it. So, like you said, they're starving. But to be fair,
same thing happened with Rhodesia when Rhodesia was turned into Zimbabwe, and they killed or drove off all of their white farmers, and there was famine. And,
it's even worse when you actually have the blueprints. You've seen what happened. You've already had somebody go through it, and now you're just doing it again. Well, this time will be different.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't done right.
Yes.
It wasn't done correctly. If you do it correctly, you got like millionaire sons, on Twitch streaming and electrocuting their dogs and complaining about capitalism. When
I have no idea who you're talking about.
No idea what I'm talking about. Anyway,
I got it. I got to give credit because, like, if the lights turned off tomorrow, I don't know how useful I would be in a dystopian world either. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what do I have that's marketable when the lights turn?
Yeah.
I guess I'll work hard.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'll have to agree with that. I would probably be pretty useless myself,
But at least I acknowledge that. Like, I don't think I'm gonna run the place. I'm not gonna take over like, oh well, it'll be perfect. I know how bad it'll be. That's why I like it on. I like that it's working.
Well, I find it amusing when you see people like Antifa threatening to take their violence to the suburbs and rural areas, and and I know so many rural area people are kind of like,
yes, you already had me sold, but yeah, come on, yeah, like I live in a suburb, and I just don't think it would go super well around here. They're pretty calm here. We get annoyed at construction blocking the road.
Right, exactly. It's like Admiral Yamamoto said when he was asked by the Japanese High Command if bodily uh, invasion of America would be possible, and he's like, a bodily invasion of America would be totally impossible. They would be firing at you behind every blade of grass. There's just too many weapons per capita. so,
There's
if our
more
society
people
breaks
in the
down,
country. It's not gonna work.
No. That's why. That's why that. What was the name of it? Red Dawn. That's why that Red Dawn was in a blue state.
Well, especially the remake with North Korea, like all 5 planes and 8 guys they have in their army. Yeah, like
Right.
wouldn't be drop them over the Rockies. Let me know how that goes.
There you go. Cruel's got an idea. Maybe by the year 3025, they'll have figured out the whole communism thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're getting closer every time, right?
Maybe.
Every new group of college students, they know exactly where we went wrong last time.
Yeah, and they only killed like 3 or 4 million people in Venezuela. China was 20 million, and I think Russia was like almost 200 million or something like that. And so they're getting closer to figuring it out. So
sure,
they're this time will be under 1 million. They're getting closer.
Yeah. Good
So,
luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but you're talking about this. Anytime you talk about dystopian, epics or whatever, I always, when it comes to survival of the fittest, our society has been so comfortable for so long.
Yeah.
That I think we all know who would wind up being the survivors. And it's not the people in the upper echelon of society or the people that control anything. There's only maybe about 4 people in Congress, I think, that would be able to survive in that situation. Most of them are ex-military. But I don't think you're going to have the squad in the ruins of the world. I don't think those are the people that are going to rise to the top. Only a few 100 million, no big deal. Shaking my head.
Do you remember a few years ago?
Only a few of them starved last time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even here, like what was a couple years ago during the George Floyd stuff, there was that Chapel Hill over in the West Coast that tried to separate the autonomous zone. And it was like 4 or 5 days, and then a warlord took over. They were like basically slave after it was like a week. So it's not going to be the people you think that are in charge when we get to the dystopian world.
No. And the guy was like driving a Tesla, and they tried to make it like a community garden, but they made it on top of like plastic sheeting and cardboard. And then he wondered why nothing like grew immediately or whatever.
I planted it yesterday. Why isn't it working?
Exactly. I put it in the ground. I mean, why isn't it already a tree? But anyway, I think we kind of got an idea of just how well prepared those agitators are to if they got their way, if they got what they think they want.
Yeah.
But I mean that's pretty much the same as with any immature people. As the worst thing you can do for somebody that's immature is give them exactly what they want.
Yeah.
And kind of like leave them to themselves. That's like the very worst thing you can do to somebody. Just wait till they jack our brains directly into the well. What could go wrong? No.
Bad enough the digital ID they're trying over in Europe. I'll slow down until they start hooking me up to anything.
There you go. Well, I mean, they've already introduced it in China, and that's where they're getting the idea from. And
getting hooked up to any machine makes me think of that movie Upgrade a few years ago, where the guy got all those upgrades. And all of a sudden, they started remotely control. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Plus, I know how good my internet's working right now.
Yeah.
I want us to rely on an internet connection to do anything.
Your internet was spotty. You know, it's like I can't scratch my butt because the internet's out. Okay,
right.
That would be.
Although it would be a great way to get out of work. Oh, I'm so sorry, my internet didn't work. I couldn't come. I couldn't come to work today. I couldn't turn on. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. China. Yeah. China. Right. Well, a little bit of fun today, since we are talking about kaiju. There's a top 5 kaiju movies according to this list. See how many of these you agree with.
All right.
There we go.
Dive into the colossal world of kaiju cinema with our countdown of the top 5 kaiju movies. From towering monsters wreaking havoc to epic battles that shake the earth, these films have defined the genre. The Host. An unidentified monster appears from the Han River in Seoul, kills hundreds, and also carries off Hyun Seo. When her family learns that she is being held captive, they resolve to save her. Cloverfield. After a giant monster attacks New York City, Rob, Hud, Lily, and Marlena form a group and desperately try to rescue their friend Beth, who is trapped in her apartment. Shin Godzilla. A gigantic creature emerges from the sea and destroys the city of Tokyo. The government officials must come up with a plan to destroy it quickly, as its strength is evolving very rapidly. Pacific Rim. A war ensues when the kaiju, the monstrous sea creatures, attack human beings. The scientists develop massive robots, Jaegers, to combat them. However, they seem futile against the kaiju's onslaught. Godzilla -1. Japan has barely recovered from the Second World War when a gigantic peril emerges off the coast of Tokyo. Koichi, a deserter traumatized by his first confrontation with Godzilla, sees this as an opportunity to redeem his conduct during the war.
It's a good list.
Yeah, obviously they didn't go back very far.
No, it's very modern.
I've never seen. Yeah, very modern. I've never seen Shin Godzilla. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I would agree with them though that I like Godzilla -1 more, but yeah, I like
Godzilla -1 is just a good movie. Period. I mean, it's brilliantly made. Brilliantly.
My oldest kid wanted to go see it, and she was like 14 at the time or something. And I was like, I don't know if this is really a movie for a 14-year-old girl. And she's like, no, I want to go see it. So we went and watched it in the theater, just me and her. And she watched the whole time. And you know, there's a lot of human element to it. And I was like, I think she came for Monster. I don't know. She walked out. She's like, that's like one of the greatest movies I've seen. She was so excited. I was really shocked that she loved it so much. So it was a good one. But yeah.
It's almost like they use Godzilla as like it's kind of like as a not necessarily as a character, but as like as the challenge that they're facing, you know, to return to a culture, to return to a people, and that this is like a monster from their past that they're trying to overcome to reach the future. And it's just I saw it more as an allegory than I did a kaiju movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. There was this other movie I can't remember. It was this movie called I Defeat Giant or I Fight Giants or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. I gotta look it up. But that's what it was. It was like this girl who like she would fight these kaiju or whatever. And then it turns out like halfway through the movie, you figure out that it's actually just like life, like problems in her life. The monsters aren't real. No one can see them. It's an allegory for the like her parents are like divorcing and her life's falling apart or whatever. And so these monsters are actually just so it was much closer to that than like your traditional like your Cloverfield or something.
Right. Let me see. I like Chinese takeaway, but they could shove their social credit system. Yeah, I got you.
I'm pretty sure you'll.
Ooh, I love Godzilla -1. Yeah, right. Well, he's from Scotland. He's facing it right now. Now I need to come up with characters who can beat these critters. Right. I grew up in the '80s. We had Godzilla cartoons. That was my intro. Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that cartoon. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I got it on the later here. So, but I remember that.
And yeah, right. So, are you more of a you prefer Godzilla being on our side or Godzilla being the antagonist?
I like him being the bad guy. Like I like him just being a pure force of nature and just destroying. It's weird to have him on the side. I don't know. Like when you're like, oh, let's call Godzilla. Like that seems really weird.
Well, I think the way, I mean, you can argue about the quality of the movies, but that last kind of MonsterVerse run, where basically they kind of like woke Godzilla up and they kind of like hoped that he would attack who they wanted.
Point him in the right direction and get out of his way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of, if you wanted to make Godzilla kind of like the protagonist, that'd be the best way to do it, you know. Kind of like you're not controlling him, but you're hoping that he sees that as a bigger threat. You know, the thing is threatening you. And we'll deal with Godzilla later, but we need him to destroy this thing. And, that's I kind of like that kind of idea. Godzilla versus Mr. Bean. I think it'd be a very short movie. I'm not sure. I think it'd be a very short movie. It's kind of Godzilla versus Bambi.
Yeah. No, isn't that like Mr. Bean's whole thing though? Like it just goes so badly for him, but like nothing bad like really happens to him, and so like Godzilla would be like trying to stomp him, and he'd like bend over for something and it'd miss him, and like I could see it.
Oh, there you go. Godzilla's a kaiju, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's not a baby face, just the heel that got over. Okay. Yeah, I get it. I agree with that. So in your world, you know, I should have refreshed my memory, but I believe in your world, doesn't seem to be like antagonist or protagonist. It just seems to be like two opposing tribes with different powers that are kind of trying to survive in this one area. And so I don't remember there being like in particular like anybody to root for per se. It was almost like
not right away because you don't know the characters well enough. Like it's just survival. It becomes more apparent though as it goes on that there's definitely a bad guy, and you know that's one of the questions that like keeps coming up in the book is like, so you've got this destroyed world, you've got this chaos, and everything's hard, and survival is just it's just a day-to-day struggle. How do you be good in a world like that? And so some of the guys in like the main tribe are like, well, we should just be like everybody else, and we should, just to fight to survive. And then there's a few like moral voices like, no, we need to be better. Like if we're gonna ever make something better of this world, we need to be better. But then everything blows up in their face, and so then they're like, well, maybe not, maybe and then it really challenges. Like it's really easy to have morals when it's not being challenged, and it gets a whole lot harder once you're up against the fence, And so as time goes on, you'll see for sure that the bad guy is the bad guy, and he likes being the bad guy, and he's much more than just for survival.
Well, that must be in the book 3 because I don't remember there being like a clear protagonist in the 2 books that I did read.
It's very much a group book, so like I don't want like this to be like one guy's book and then like everybody else is just like side characters that could easily be removed.
Right.
Like So like in the first one, it's just kind of introducing the world. And then in the second one, I introduce more of the background of the flying guy. You meet his old tribe, you fight another tribe there. In this third one, you're going to find out more about the guy with the big hammer that's super strong. It's going to kind of give his background and see.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
So each book has kind of like a highlight. Technically, the main guy is the electricity guy because he's the de facto leader, but nobody's really willing to like accept that yet. And so he's trying to exert that he can rule or he can lead them, but in a good way. But the characters are just so big that like like I said, there's not one main protagonist yet.
Right. Well, when it comes to like fights for survival, it's really kind of difficult to like have that moral compass and not have them like appear to be like weak, because when it's survival of the fittest is pretty much do whatever you have to survive, which means you may have to cross moral lines to do so. And it seems like a disadvantage to have any kind of morality in that situation.
Yeah.
What would you say about that?
No, it's true. That's what I was kind of saying. Like, it's all fine and well, like the very first comic, one of the first times they go out really into the world, they're, kind of looking around for survivors, and they meet a couple of slavers, and they're transporting these captured people. And so the guy with the lightning, he's like, we need to save them. And, they fight, they rescue some people, and it goes terribly, right? It brings the other tribe into their world. It puts them on the rip. And so it was really easy when it was like, oh, that's obviously the right thing to do. And then their home blows up, and it's like, well, that was a heavy price to pay. Was that morality worth it? And you're going to see that in the second one, the second comic, the flying guy reminds us of that. He's like, this is hard, and I had to face a lot of past demons in this one, but the guy who used to lead us, this is what he said, and this is why it makes sense. And he's not much of a talker. That guy, I've made it a goal that guy never says more than 5 words at one time. Like, that's his personality. Like, he's a very quiet, very reserved. And there's only one time I break the rule, and they actually make reference to the comic. He's like, look, he said more than 5 words. Like, this must be a big deal. And so, he's very stoic. And so he's kind of being the voice to this guy, like kind of literally the angel on his shoulder. It's ironic he had the wings, but he was like remember what we're trying to be different. And then you've got the other guy with the hammer who's like, we should probably just kill them all. We should be just like them. And so these first 3 issues are kind of that fight back and forth for morality. And again, it's great to have the morals, but then when you watch your best friend get blown up, you're like, well, I think I want revenge, And so
right.
Trying to watch that line right now, and it's tough.
Well, it's like Audie Murphy was one of the most kind-hearted people you could imagine, but when he was in war, he was a complete berserker. Did legendary things, and Germans died in mass. This little 5'4", 120-something pound nothing. Turned out to be one of the most effective killers America's ever produced, except for as soon as he came home, he found a way to save his younger siblings that he had to put into an orphanage because he couldn't afford to keep them up. And so, it's like when you're in wartime, morality is not a luxury that you can afford. But when you have the opportunity, when you have the chance to be a moral person, and you're not like fighting for whatever you're fighting for. I think that kind of like dichotomy is really fascinating to kind of like explore. When you look at all of society, at a certain point, when it was survival of the fittest, and it was all diverse tribes, and and everybody was pitted against one another for resources, kind of like you know, kind of like this country was when we first got here. You know, tribes were killing each other off and taking over each other's property. There was no culture here. There was no society here. But when we got here and we had like a religious order, we had morality, and we became the dominant culture. Eventually took over this continent uh, uh, from all of these smaller cultures that uh, didn't really have a moral compass, and so it you know, it seems like on the front end of it that it would be a disadvantage, but if for in the long term, uh, developing some kind of moral code or developing some kind of like rule of law actually benefits you into setting up something long term.
Yep.
But it's like, like the old West. Yeah, you got to get there, right? Right.
Yep. Yeah, no, you're right though. Like that's why we've existed as well as we have for as long as we have, because we did see the bigger picture, which is kind of where the first book opens up, is this idea like we want to be better, we want to do this, and so this first arc is the testing of that. But yeah, like long run, the only way we're going to make the world not a wild west of monsters and tribes is if we do have something bigger than ourselves, some sort of law, some sort of morality, whatever. And so they're trying to do that, and now they're each issue is getting a little harder right now. So and issue 3 I think is going to be the hardest issue for him. So
yeah. Well, King David wasn't allowed to build the temple because God said he was too blood soaked, and because he had spilled so much blood establishing Israel as a nation. He wasn't going to be allowed to establish that temple.
When they have songs about how many thousands of people you kill, there's probably something to that.
Saul is slain his thousands and David is 10,000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing about Philistine foreskins, that it's somebody capable of that. You have to, okay. Yep. Anyway, might have some blood on his his fingernails there. Anyway.
But I mean, you're right. In that story, he lays the groundwork so that then Solomon can build the temple. So like, and I think that's something that a lot of like our society in modern day has lost. That like you look back at like the Middle Ages when they built those giant cathedrals, like those guys started building that and we're not going to live to see the end of it, but they were building something better for the next generation. And we don't have that kind of delayed gratification, or that like, this is my part to play and I won't see the finish, but it's important what I'm doing so that people can stand on my shoulders and make it happen. And I really think like modern day, we've lost that.
Well, that's part of establishing civilization, because you establish civilization not for your own benefit, but for the benefit of continuation of your tribe, your family, your society, and when it starts breaking down is when people start getting obsessed with the now, getting obsessed with the present day, that they don't plan for the future, they don't leave things in place that protect the future. In any way, shape, or form, when society breaks down, it always breaks down when people start getting short-sighted and selfish and narrow-minded. And so you get those three things, then society starts breaking down. And I guess we're seeing this in some level right now, like the cities where nobody is, oh, well, let's set a level of what is considered a misdemeanor if you steal. It has to be this amount of money, and then they wonder why all the stores are shutting their doors,
Yep.
And Well, I mean,
Yeah.
when you acquiesce and start lowering or breaking your own laws, uh, that's when society starts degenerating, and that's when little Ukrainian girls coming home from pizza get stabbed to death.
Yeah.
And nobody bats an eye.
Yeah, I can't believe that nobody moved on that train. That was crazy, or on the bus, whatever.
Nobody. Yeah.
Yeah, I always made this joke that I've got a bunch of kids, and so in LA you can steal up to a certain amount, like up to like $1,000 before you get in trouble. And in New York, I read that if they're under the age of 9, they won't prosecute for anything other than murder. So I said for spring break, I'd send my kids in each direction, and the older ones can go to LA, and the younger ones can go to New York, and we can just have a good time because they're broadcasting it. They're like, come to our city and do crime. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a weird tourist attraction, but all right.
Well, here's this model of TV that's right under $900. This is what I want you to steal. You know.
And like I said, they're quick and numerous, so they can do it quick. So
there you go. Your regular. What is the name of that guy from Oliver? The guy who had all the little kid thieves.
Yeah, I don't. I read that back in so I don't. I don't remember. Sorry.
Well, you're a professor. You're supposed to know this stuff.
I know. It's funny. The only books I read in high school were books I read on my own. I was not required to read a single book to graduate a class in high school. It wasn't until college that they start. Yeah. Like we had a literature class and we tried to read Romeo and Juliet. We got 3 pages in, and the professor's like, let's just watch the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. So that was how I learned about Shakespeare when I was in high school. So when I got to college, they finally made me read like a book, and then I went into history stuff. So that classical literature I've had to all read on my own, and it's been a long time. So
yeah, well, I mean, me, I've always been a voracious reader, but I actually had an English teacher that kept telling me that I needed to stop reading, and it was just, you could tell it really bothered her and disturbed her deeply that she had to tell me to stop reading.
That is, yeah.
Bacon.
Okay, there you
Bacon. That's the name. But yeah, I mean, you could just see it's just, I mean, because I would be reading stuff like Bram Stoker's Dracula, and she would want me to like read something else, that was part of the assignment or whatever, and so it would just like, it would like hurt her to say it, but she's like, I can't believe I'm having to say this, Stephen, but stop reading.
If you start assigning better things, I'll start reading your things too.
Exactly. Well, I mean, just assign me Bram Stoker's Dracula, and we could just make it part of my assignment. Just do an individual assignment anyway. But I mean, I actually got a hologram on the wall over there of Dracula, so something must have stuck. Something.
There you go.
Anyway, but so let me go ahead and share your campaign so we can take a look at it right quick.
Yeah, I think there you go. Should be up now. I was wondering if that was slowing me down, so I got rid of it for a little bit. But it should be there now. Yep. There's the campaign.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's take a look.
Cool. Yep. So this is the Fallen Man.
Cool.
Here's a couple of the covers. This is done by the interior artist. So he's, I like that continuity of having the interior artist do a cover. I just like knowing what I'm getting when I get in there. And then, as always, I always have an alternate cover by Elliot Rodriguez, and this is his. He was actually the very first cover for this series, even before the interior artist gave me one, and so he did an alternate cover for 1, 2, and 3.
That is so Elliot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an Elliot.
Yep. You can tell by the detail in it, and yeah, I love how he draws monsters. So and yeah, so we've been doing this for what 3 years now. So he's had a cover on every book.
Awesome.
And then I also did a newsprint cover. I'm gonna try Pete Sammetti's service and see how the newsprint. I don't know about you. I like the old comics with the newsprint feel. So I thought it might be fun. So
yeah.
And that was over there. That was done by the Don. He drew that as a pinup, but it was just too cool. So
I got you. Yeah.
So you can see.
I recognize that now. Yeah, that's definitely Don.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get to see his work every week on his show. He's always drawing. So, but yeah. So yeah, here are the covers over here. It's I find it funny how you like try to show the main stuff and then there's the tears going alongside it. So
yeah.
But yeah, here's the background story. A little bit we talked about at the beginning of the show. Just you can see it. The nuclear bomb started, and then we got the guys with superpowers. And if you've read the second novella, this one panel pretty much inspired that entire book because this guy ends up in the war before the monsters rise. He ends up like basically taking over DC, and so these guys have to fight to like liberate DC as society's collapsing. So everybody does werewolves. I thought, how fun would it be if you had a were-bear? Change it up a little bit.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, but then you see the solar flare hit, and then you get the rise of the monsters. And so throughout the book, there's a little flashback between modern day and the old world. So guys like this will keep coming up for reasons for later. So these were the characters. I realized, as I was with indie comics, there's always such a long time between releases. So I kind of want to do what they used to do, like in the old X-Men books of like the 90s, where you'd have that first page and it'd have all the characters. Like I want to have something like that so you can like quick reference, because I know the characters, I love the characters, I know their names, but if you haven't read it for a year, then you're, what was that guy's name? Who was that? What's he do? So I put that on the campaign too, so you can see. So this is the reluctant leader of the guys being kind of thrown out into the wasteland, unsure of himself. Most of the time, these tribes they surround themselves with guys who can telepathically like talk to them on. They can control the monsters. So you'll actually get guys who can make the kaiju fight for them. And this guy is not that. So now these guys are all rallying around him. He's like, what am I going to do? I shoot lightning. And so he's got to come to terms with trying to lead these people while also being at a disadvantage for most tribes. So, and then, see the cast of characters. This was the guy I was talking about, the flying guy in the second one. I like characters like this. I always root for the underdogs, and imagine like this is a little more useful of a power being a precog. You can see things coming, but imagine having like a useless power. Like everybody who's left has powers. The only people who survived the fallout of the nuclear bombs, they have powers. But could you imagine if you were like Forge from the X-Men, like you were technology and you live in a world with no technology, like you just completely drew the short. Like so. These guys have to. Some of them are really lucky and have really
like
offensive.
a cipher from New Mutants.
Yes, right there, a linguist.
Yeah.
Imagine being a linguist in a world of Godzilla.
Right.
Like, go fight that monster. You're like, well, I can talk to that guy over there. I can go ask for help from. No, we're gonna see his powers grow as time goes on. He's a young kid. He's like 16. And so this is the world he's known. His whole tribe was destroyed. He's actually one of the guys rescued from the slavers in the first one. And so he's not only is he kind of like useless, but he's also everything he's ever known is gone. So now he's in with these new people, trying to figure his place in there and trying to survive the wasteland with the ability to talk. So but I've got plans for him as time goes on. And that's one of the things about this book. Everybody ages. Like they're not going to be forever the age they are. There's not gonna be like Spider-Man, who's had been the same, angsty teenager for 70 years, with the brief glimpses of him growing up and then resetting the status quo. These guys are gonna get old. They're married, have kids, die, whatever. Like the time will keep marching on as the series goes on.
Well, I hope you don't take this as an insult, but this feels very like a manga more than it does Western.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I mean, I don't really do manga, but I'm not opposed to them. Yeah, that's one thing that I think has really hurt the Western comic book industry is they're not willing to let them grow and stay that way.
Right.
You know, like my example of Spider-Man. I mean, how long can he stay a broke, sad guy? And like, I don't know. But yeah, and it's kind of like Robert Kirkman with like The Walking Dead. Like, you know, like there kept being growth with the characters. They kept going. Status quo was, you know, there's no reset buttons. So it's kind of more in that vein than this. And we'll see where it goes. I have right now I have about 16 issues plotted out.
Wow.
I've got 7 issues fully written. And I have, you know, the first 4 or 5 arcs like in my head. I know where it's going. I know like the future of these characters. So this isn't like a short story. Like it can be. Each comic is mostly a completely contained story. You'll get a full. There's never going to be there will be a to be continued at the end, but it won't be like Into the Spider-Verse where it just stops halfway through the movie. It's like to be continued, or like one of the Matrix movies. It was just like to be continued. Like that was the worst. You're going to get a full story in here, but ongoing. As long as people let me do this, I'm going to keep writing it. So
there you go. This is really cool. Yeah, as soon as I have the extra cash, I'm definitely backing it.
Well, thank you.
I like the first 2 books, so I definitely want to get a hold of this one. Is this the bad guy?
No, this is going to be a new character. He's briefly in book 2, and he's going to come back at the end of issue 3 and 4. He's going to become a bigger character, and the roster is going to keep growing. So you know that's going to be one of the things. I think it's fun to have a big team book. So, but not get it too out of control.
Yeah, I've got about 8 people in my team, so I'm not going to throw stones at anybody.
No, this guy, his power is like he can create like psionic whips. He can project like limited amounts of psionic energy and then use them as weapons. So, yep.
Gotcha.
But he's right now he's from a different tribe, and so he'll cross paths with the main heroes soon. And then here's some interior of the newest issue. You can see from the offset the internal squabbling a little bit. Right, this is not going to be smooth sailing. This picks up right after the issue number 2. Right after they meet the flying cult around the kaiju they fought. He blames him a little bit for how well it went. So he's letting him know his feelings. And everybody else is kind of watching. They don't know what to do. This guy here, he's mostly made of magma. He's like rock and magma. He's one of the ones that have been more mutated by the aftermath. And his whole thing is he kind of just makes jokes. He's had a really traumatic, awful life, so he compensates by making jokes. So 9 times out of 10, even when everything's falling apart, that guy will be making jokes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's what he's doing here. Well, go ahead.
Well, that's the one thing about characters, making really good characters, and the reason why they can't make them now is that the best characters are the ones that have like fundamental flaws that they have to overcome. That makes them, not, 100% lovable all the time,
Mm-hmm.
And I think people identify with characters that have their like foibles. I guess everybody points to Rey Skywalker as a bad example of a character with absolutely no flaws or no struggle to achieve anything, and then they wonder why people can't identify with that. I don't know about you, but if I picked up a lightsaber, I wouldn't be able to win a lightsaber duel with a Sith Lord having just picked it up.
Although, what a miss
Anyway,
with Finn picking up that lightsaber and then never talking about it ever again.
oh yeah.
That was a believable thing. This random ex-stormtrooper picks up a lightsaber, tries to fight, loses miserably, but lives to tell the tale. And then you could have like made something of that, and instead he rides space horses and chase after Rey. I mean,
Luke, it's like Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back loses his arm and actually runs away and barely survives. Basically committed suicide to get away, and he didn't know what was down there when he let go. But that made him more compelling, and so when he came back to in the third movie, and he's able to threaten people and then follow through on the threats by being a complete and total badass, you were rooting for him. It felt earned. It felt like he went somewhere.
This is definitely like in this comic arc of mine. This is definitely like the ending of Empire Strikes Back, where it's at the end and you're like, well, everything sucks now. This is as bad as it can get, right? That's kind of this issue. This is the hardest they're gonna face in this one, because again, there's this overarching thing. They're going after this guy, trying to get their people back that he stole, but at any second you can be hanging out like this, and then the next second, all of a sudden, you've got giant monsters jumping out of the water about to murder you. So even in the calm, quiet moments, it's gonna be tough, and then and actions have consequences, and it's gonna get them. So
there you go. Well, I guess it's a good like character beat to especially in the dystopian world. You can't really indulge yourself into interpersonal conflict when you've got bigger fish to fry and bigger challenges that you're facing, and the petty people are the ones that get killed off first, you see it a lot like horror movies where they're being chased by the monster, and the people that take it seriously and keep focused on the monster are the ones that survive, but the ones that decide to run off and neck or decide to be a butthole about something, they're the ones that get killed off. But there's a time for everything, and
and that is going to be a little bit of the issue. In this issue, they're gonna have some interpersonal issues, which is why I started off with the punch. There's been no mystery about these two's relationship over the first two books. They're not friends really, but because of circumstances they're together, and they're both right in some ways and both wrong in others. And once they learn to kind of put their differences aside, it'll be better for the team. It's just what they got to go through to get there.
There you go. A Little John, Robin Hood kind of thing, I guess.
I don't know. That was the last. That was the last page. I've got some other artwork working, but this book unfortunately is going to take me just a little longer to make because the past two books I did it and then funded, and this time I'm funding first, so it's going to take just a little bit longer. So the artwork is going to come in, which I mean well with working on your book, but. The interior artist, he's very quick. He's very responsive. So it shouldn't be too long. But yeah.
Well, I got you. I totally get you. Well, anyway, thank you for stopping by today and showing us this awesome campaign. It's pinned in the chat. It's also pinned in the description below.
Yes, thank you.
I have both of the first two books, and I can testify that this is a really consistently well-written book, and awesome characters, awesome world building,
Thank you.
And great creature designs. Your creature designs are just top notch.
Thank you.
So anyway, But thank you all for coming today. Thank you, Paul, for showing up.
Yep. Yeah, it was fun.
All right.
I don't get to do this enough, or I get to hang out on streams like this. So
Yeah. Mhm. Well, you certainly can anytime. What the heck happened here? Why am I suddenly like? It suddenly went really, really bright.
too bright a light. Yeah.
What the heck happened? Anyway, I'm a white guy, okay, but I was way too white at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like, there's like brightness coming on. Anyway.
Struggles
All right,
real.
thank you for coming.
Thank you.
There you go. All right, thank you all for coming. Thank you to the chat, Fluffy's chat, and all of YouTube. Thanks for hanging out today. Check out Fall of Man #3. There's a catch-up tier where you can get all the rest of the really cool books. And I highly suggest it. There we go. All right. I highly suggest you do so. Just a really awesome series. But anyway, that has been Cooper for Telepathic Bunny Comics here with Paul from AGE. And I'll see you next time. Hopefully we'll have a show. I have a show Thursday. Actually, have another friend that's going to come on. We're going to talk about some stuff. But anyway, I'll see you guys then. Follow White Rabbit. Bye, everybody.